That wasn't dramatic at all, was it? Hi, everybody, it's Ray Jordan here. I hope this finds you at a good time. I am so sorry for taking such a long time to get back to you all, but I was updating the 28-day program and it took a little longer than expected, and a few other things got in the way, but now I'm back. Although I'm saying hello, this is actually my goodbye. I'll still be in the background, but I won't be posting any videos for quite some time because I'll be going on a break. So I want to say thank you for all your love, your support, every comment, all my clients, and those who have enrolled onto the SB program. Even though I taught you, I learned a lot from you too. And your love and your support kept me going. So to everybody, I just want to say a huge thank you. When I think about it, I haven't even uploaded 20 videos on this channel, but the support I've gotten is absolutely phenomenal. So just want to say a humongous thank you. So the last video I'm going to leave you with is living in the wish fulfilled. You know, this is such an important topic for me because when I truly learnt what this is when I was able to receive my breakthrough. I would do everything in quotation marks correctly or right, but I wouldn't get my desire until I got to this point. And I see that a lot of people haven't reached this point. So I truly believe that this message will bring a lot of people their breakthrough. I do believe this is going to be a message of breakthrough. So with that, guys, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about living in the wish fulfilled. So living in the wish fulfilled, often mixed up with going to the end, but there's a difference, hence why there are two different terms. I can go to the end many times, but it doesn't mean I'm living in the wish fulfilled. Going to the end itself can be done through a variety of different ways. It can be done through affirmations, meditations, or just through thought. It's a verb, it's a doing, an action. But living in the wish of fulfillment is not necessarily something that you do, but rather it's a state of mind. And when you get to this place, this is where things happen. It's where desires become a 3D reality. And I believe the best way of teaching this is through the story of Barbados. And I'm sure the majority of you here are familiar with the story of Neville wanting to go to Barbados, but not having the appropriate funds to do so. If you aren't familiar with the story, what I'll do is I'll share a link to the story down below. So the story is of Neville trying to go to Barbados, but he was a broke dancer at the time, and he didn't have the funds to do so. And when he spoke to his teacher Abdullah about this, Abdullah says, well, you're already in Barbados. And initially, Neville was very confused about this, as most of us would be. But Neville decided to continue going to the end. But after some time, there was still no result. And for some of you, you call this movement. There was no movement. And Abdullah refused to discuss it with Neville any further. Abdullah told Neville, you are in Barbados, to remind him that seeking further help or confirmation is not being in the state of the wish of fulfillment. And in Neville's words, he says, how could he discuss with me how I am going to Barbados when I'm already in Barbados? That's stupid to discuss how I'm going to go when I am in Barbados. And if I am faithful to my assumption, I can't discuss the how because I am already there. Do you know what that is? Abdullah was telling Neville to drop the hows, the whens, the whys. He was telling him to drop the seed, to drop the desire, and find himself already there. And in other words, he was telling him to detach. Abdullah was telling him to drop his desire. And in Neville's own words, when you drop your desire in consciousness as a seed, confident that it shall appear in its full-blown potential, you have done all that is expected of you. To be worried or concerned about the manner of their unfoldment is to hold these fertile seeds in a mental grasp, and therefore to prevent them from really maturing to full harvest. Dropping the seed is dropping the desire and becoming the thing you have once desired. Living in the wish of fulfillment is the end of having to do and the beginning of being. I'll say that again. Living in the wish of fulfillment is the end of having to do and the beginning of being. You cannot desire something you already have. it's impossible. When you are constantly asking questions like the hows, the whys, the whens, understand that you are affirming that you are not. For instance, if I need to ask when the bus is coming or how, it means the bus isn't here. I wouldn't ask a question like that if the bus is already here. When we are dealing with the law of assumption, it's all about it becoming a present reality. We deal with the present when dealing with the law of assumption. I want to disclose that nobody on this planet hated the idea of detachment more than me. Personally, I first felt as though it just didn't make any sense. I'm supposed to want this desire, then let go. Then at the same time persist. How does that work? And so before learning what it truly was, I never did. I never detached from my desire. And do you know what I used to get? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And unfortunately, I used to get my desire when I detach in frustration. And you don't need to do that. The purpose of practicing detachment is to separate ourselves from our present reactions to life. And this is by Neville Goddard. When something in your 3D world seems to come up against your desire, if you have really dropped your seed, you understand that you already are. And so these things can't move you. For instance, you're trying to manifest money and you think it's coming through a particular means. And something comes up against that. But because you stand firm in who you are and you've detached, and in Neville's words, you've separated yourself from your present reactions, it doesn't move you. And you shouldn't be afraid. This is not a message of fear. If something does come up against your desire, your initial reaction wouldn't be one of, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. But do you get back on track because you realize who you are? That's what this truly is. Or do you stay in that place of fear? Do you return back to your old self? Or do you live in the wish of fulfillment? Do you separate yourselves from your present reactions to life? How do you let go of your seed but persist? As I said earlier, this is one of the things that I battled with, persisting and letting go of my seed. So how do you let go of your seed but persist? Okay, I'm going to break this down into the most simple way possible. The underlying belief is if I detach or let go of my seed, it means that I don't want my desire anymore. Well, I should pretend I don't want my desire anymore. I'm going to give you a garden analogy. So if you were in your garden and you were planting your seed, so of course you'd have to let go of it. Would it make sense if when you let go of your seed and you planted your seed, your friend stands back shocked and says, oh, so you didn't want that then? Oh, so you didn't want that seed then? You know it doesn't. You know that that seed that you've planted is not in its fullest form. And you don't want just a seed, but you want the product of the seed. You want the produce of the seed. A seed has its own functionalities, but you want the seed in its fullest form. Not many people want just a seed. For instance, you show up at your mother's house on Mother's Day with just a seed. She might not be impressed, but you show up with a bunch of flowers and you've made her day. For the seed to have even a chance to develop into its final form, you have to let go. A seed cannot and will not grow in your hands. It does not matter about the quality of your seeds or the quantity of your seeds. If you do not let go, absolutely nothing will happen. Not only does Neville speak of releasing your seed, but it's also unbiblical to hold on to your seed. In John 12 verses 24, it says, truly, truly, I say unto you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. And that death that needs to take place so that you can transform into something new is so important. If you want to learn more about it, there is a link to my video called The Art of Dying, which explains this in its entirety. Although it's a long one, this is my favorite video that I've ever made on this channel. And so feel free to check it out and learn about the art of dying and becoming the new man. But guys, dropping your seed is true faith. It is where you say to God, I've done my work. I believe you'll do yours. Universe, I've done my work. Now it's your turn. That's where true faith is. It's not affirming in vain because you don't believe you've done enough. Letting go is where your faith will be displayed. It's where you let go of something that was once a desire and becoming the very thing you once wanted to be. That is what it is. For some, not letting go is the message of faith. And the visual representation for that is you being in your garden, holding onto your seed for your dear life and getting frustrated. You've done everything right, but it's still not growing yet. Maybe it's not growing because the seed is still in your hands. After creation, there is always rest. Even listen to the words fulfilled. Fulfilled, to be fulfilled. Some of the synonyms for the word fulfilled are nothing more to do, content, satisfied. It gives you such a huge clue as to what's being spoken about here. When you get to this point, there is nothing more to do because you already are. That's the message here. A word from Neville Goddard is, the secret is dropping it. Let me go is one of the last statements in the gospel. Do not hold me. If you hold on to it, then you haven't dropped it. The seed must fall into the ground and die before it's made alive. If I hold on to it and keep on holding on to it, I haven't dropped it. And it has to be dropped and left alone too. You can't pick it up every morning and see if it has root. I must drop it and leave it alone and confront the harvest. And so this is the key to manifesting your desire. It's dropping it. It's the reason why things that seem very insignificant in your life, like a cup of tea or, manifesting a small amount of money, it seems to manifest at warp speed. And it's just the easiest thing in this world. But the big desires, we tend to hold on to it forever. And it's always just a desire. It never becomes more than a desire. It starts off as a desire and ends as a desire. We never take our rightful place and just become that person. But instead, it's something that we always aspire to have. Your job is to drop the seed, to drop the desire and just become it. At some point, your belief in who you are now should become such a solidified fact that you no longer need to look for encouragement in your 3D world. All of that becomes unnecessary because you truly believe you are. It's no longer just a desire that you're chasing, but you've become that thing. I do understand that some people want encouragement at some point of their journey. However, when you've reached the point of fulfillment, you don't need encouragement anymore. It's no longer a need because you are. In the story of Barbados, Neville talks about how he wanted encouragement from Abdullah, but Abdullah refused to give him any kind of encouragement. He wouldn't even entertain it. The end of longing is always to be, not to do. Can I still think about my desire? You most definitely can, but you need to think about what you are thinking about. So you cannot persist in wanting what you already have. If you assume you are what you desire to the point of ecstasy, you can no longer want it. You need to be mindful. Are you thinking from your desire where you are living from the end and from a place of fulfillment, or are you just thinking of it? Because there's a huge difference here. For a lot of people, they get stuck into the trap of always thinking of it. When you're thinking of it, it always seems so far away. Questions like, okay, well, how is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? How is this going to happen will arise because you are thinking of it. But when I'm thinking from it, there are no questions because I already am. I don't need to know how or why or when because I already am it. It is a present fact now. And back to what I was saying, sometimes I set myself a little challenge to do the practical work for a set number of days. During those days, I could very well become the thing that I once desired to be. But I continue with the meditations, the affirmations, because I want to. And I've set the time aside to do it. So I do it. So there's no blanket answer here. This is not about what you're doing, it's about why you're doing it. This is all about self-assessment. So many people here want this to be like an exam. If you did this wrong, it's over for you. You failed the test. This desire will never be yours. You're finished. You're doing it wrong. Do it my way. I refuse to give you that message. This is not a message of fear. This is all about self-assessment and figuring out what part of the journey you're at and who you are. Whatever you desire, believe you have received it, and you will. Mark 11 verses 24. Well, now, if I desire something, it's a confession that I don't have it. So I know the state that I'm in when I desire. That's obvious. But now I must move from the state of desire to the state where the desire has been granted. There are two groups of people here. For some, you've done the work. Dropping your seed is just part of the journey. It's going to be one of your next steps. And for others, dropping your seed is not possible because there is no seed. No seed has been formed as of yet. You haven't done any work whatsoever. And the only thing you're remaining faithful to is to finding the next video to keep you pumped up for a few hours. And tomorrow you'll do the same thing. I have a lot of empathy for this group of people because, to be honest, that used to be me. But it needs to come to an end. You don't get anything from just being hearers of the word, but you must do. For this group of people, I haven't neglected you. So as a goodbye present, the next two videos, there'll be an 8-hour-long subliminal. In the subliminal that I've produced and will upload soon, the affirmations will start off quite audible, then it will slowly become quieter. And your only job is to set your intention, then drift off to sleep. And that is all you need to do. And take full advantage of sleeping. Keep yourself accountable. I'll leave this template in the subliminal and you can set yourself a challenge to listen to this sub for at least 30 or 60 days. And I hope nobody's going to be a smarty pants about it and say, well, I thought you said you need to let go of your seed. No, there is a time for everything. That's like you trying to reap a seed you haven't sown because I said you need to reap your seed. There is a time for everything. Some people have not done the work, and others, they may have not had any faith in their imaginal acts whatsoever. Once again, this takes self-assessment. There is a time for everything. I want to leave you with this final word. A seed must be let go. I can't hold it in my hand. A seed must fall into the ground and die before it's made alive. You want something big in this world. You're holding on to it. It hasn't dropped. That's why big things don't appear. You have a death grip on them. It's the little things that you don't care about that do. And that's in Neville Goddard's own words. With that, guys, I'm finished. I'm off. I'm gone. I do hope to come back in a few months. Yes, I'm still coaching, but spaces will be very limited. And for those who want coaching on their SP, please do consider the 28-day program. We've already had such amazing results. The time allocated for coaching, I couldn't give you the amount of information that the 28-day program does. And so if you do want coaching from me, please do consider the 28-day program instead. And with that, guys, thank you so much for everything. And for the last time, I'm Ray Jordan. I love you all. Goodbye.